I rise to speak on the Road Safety Legislation Amendment Bill 2022. The Liberals and Nationals will not be opposing this bill. However, I will be supporting our amendments which seek to reintroduce the Road Safety Committee, and I will outline my reasons throughout my contribution today. The bill before us seeks to create new offences for distracted drivers and those who fail to wear seatbelts on Victorian roads. It gives evidentiary status to road cameras that detect mobile phone use and creates a new list of offences that may trigger on-the-spot licence suspensions if, while in control of a motor vehicle, a driver commits murder, attempted murder or manslaughter by harming some other person. They will be subject to immediate licence suspension too. Licence suspensions will also happen on the spot for intentionally exposing an emergency, custodial or youth worker to risk. Dangerous or negligent driving while being pursued by police will also see licences suspended on the spot. I do not think anyone would argue with the fact that someone doing any of these things should be taken off our roads. The bill also makes various changes to payments under the TAC scheme, which I will also return to throughout my contribution today. The government recently ran a 3-month trial of mobile phone detection cameras. They have now introduced this bill, which will allow pictures taken by these cameras to be used to issue fines. These cameras will detect people who are using a mobile phone while driving. The picture will then go to a trained individual for verification before a fine is sent out as a protection against technical error. The government trial found that 1 in 42 drivers were on their phones or had their phones in their laps while driving. I think all of us in this chamber have probably witnessed other road users using their phones while behind the wheel. I certainly have been driving alongside people who have both hands glued to their phone as they attempt to drive with their knees. It feels like it is becoming more common. It's not just P-platers, it's people from all generations thinking it is safe to multitask while driving on our roads. The lucky ones get fined, the unlucky ones lose a life, or worse, take a life of an innocent party due to their distracted driving. The education and TAC campaigns clearly aren't getting through, so if fines are what it takes to get people off their phones, I think it is worth trying. As it stands, the penalty for using a mobile phone is 4 demerit points and a $540 fine. If the government fined every one of Victorians caught using a mobile phone during its 3-month trial, it would have made just short of $9 million in revenue. The use of these cameras is going to be a big revenue earner for the government, and I hope that the money is used to fix other road safety hazards, such as our regional Victorian roads. This bill also gives evidentiary status for cameras that detect those who are not wearing seatbelts, and those Victorians will also receive fines in the mail. The introduction of seatbelts came about because of a Victorian Parliament's Joint Select Committee on Road Safety, which was established in 1967 to consider ways to reduce road accidents. By 1970, the road toll in Australia had reached critical levels, with 3,798 motorists losing their lives that year. It was a Liberal Victorian government that became the first in the Western world to introduce legislation requiring seatbelts be worn. Road safety is one of those areas that we all want to get right. We all want our roads to be safe. That is why the Road Safety Committee had so much success. It allowed us to work together, and the work of the committee really shaped the road safety rules we have today. The committee delivered reports on licensing, demerit points, roadworthiness of vehicles, speed limits and rural road safety. It leads me to seriously question why the Andrews Labor government abolished the committee upon coming into government in 2014. One of the first things they did was to disband the committee that did some incredible work in the road safety space. That committee had been behind some of our most significant road safety reforms, and it is a real shame that this government decided to abolish it. As mentioned, I am supporting the Liberals' amendment to bring back that committee. It is evident how successful that committee was and how much difference we can make when we work together on these issues. The committee should still exist today, and I think it is important that we bring it back so we can continue to create safe roads. It was this committee that pushed for the introduction of seatbelts around 1970. The government's recent camera trial also looked at motorists who failed to wear a seatbelt. It found that 1 in 667 drivers were not wearing one. The fact that people still aren't wearing seatbelts in 2022 is incredible. In 2021, over 30 people died while not wearing a seatbelt. These deaths were all preventable, and that is a very sad thing about road-related deaths. The vast majority of them are preventable. The introductions of fines for not wearing seatbelts and using mobile phones is not contentious. It is evident that our road toll is severely heightened due to drivers being on their phones or unrestrained. Road safety campaigns and tear-jerking TAC ads just aren't getting through, and I think it will be interesting to see how these figures change once the cameras are introduced to detect people on their phones. I think it would also be very interesting to see how we can strengthen our road safety if that committee were to be brought back. The bill is focused on driver behaviour, which of course is one of many important factors that contribute to road safety. However, there are a number of other factors relevant to road safety that have not been addressed in this bill, such as the condition of our roads past the tram tracks outside of Melbourne. I do not think that our focus on road safety should just be about loss of demerit points and fines. It should also be about making our roads safer and for all road users. I can think of many roads in Eastern Victoria region that are unsafe and riddled with deep potholes that are dangerous and cause significant damage to my constituents' vehicles. I myself have been the victim of potholes on 2 occasions. One occasion, my rim was completely smashed and I had both children in my car, and the second occasion, another rim was smashed and my axle broke. So these potholes are really, really bad. I have quite a large electorate, and no matter where I travel, I notice road surfacing issues. The roads are deteriorating, speed limits are all over the place, and white lines are so faded in some spots that they are nearly not there at all. A prime example is the Princess Highway near Gumbaya World. They have been calling for an overpass at Tynong North near Gumbaya World for years after multiple horrific accidents and near misses. Between July 1, 2015 and June 30, 2020, there was 1 fatal, 2 serious crashes and 2 others involving injuries. Just last year, a male driver died while a female and child were taken to hospital with critical injuries. It is an extremely busy road that constantly has trucks going by, entering and exiting the sand quarry. There are 7,831 people who have signed a petition for an overpass, traffic lights or a roundabout to be installed, but all the government has done is lower the speed limit. That seems to be this government's way of fixing our roads. They lower the speed limit from 100 kilometres to 80 kilometres rather than investing in our roads. In last week's state budget, the Andrews Labor government slashed road asset maintenance funding for a second year in a row. They have reduced it by another $24 million after already taking $191 million in the previous 2021-22 budget. These cuts are definitely not because the roads have been fixed. The last part of the bill that I wish to speak on is the changes to TAC benefits. This bill amends the Transport Accident Act to ensure drivers convicted of manslaughter, murder or culpable driving will not be able to receive death benefits if they survive the accident and are charged. This means people who kill their partners through the use of a motor vehicle and are charged will not be eligible to receive financial compensation. I think there are many people who, upon hearing that, would agree with it instantly. There are, however, numerous factors to consider here. Culpable driving includes negligently driving under Section 318 of the Crimes Act. Negligent driving is quite broad. This means there may be situations where the individuals charged with culpable driving do not receive a death benefit despite losing a partner. I think there is some further information needed about how this will work because, as we all know, being charged does not always mean a guilty finding will be upheld. I think these are some questions that need to be fleshed out in the committee stage. Overall, the main purpose of this bill is to give evidentiary status to those mobile phone and seatbelt cameras, something that has been a long time coming. I look forward to seeing how much of a difference these cameras make to road safety and encourage the government to act immediately to fix our regional roads. Properly maintained roads are safer roads. That is why the Liberals and Nationals have launched a website seeking road condition reports from locals, councils, farmers and community groups to identify the roads most in need of maintenance. I would encourage Victorians to make use of that platform. I'll end my contribution there.